Hello, ahead of the Privacy Enhancing Technology Summit, it is a pleasure to be joined by Alberto of Luna Ventures. He has been investing and researching privacy enhancing technologies, otherwise known as PETs, for several years now. So Alberto, how did you get involved in investing in PETs?
Thank you, Moses. It's a pleasure being here today, and it will be a pleasure attending the event very soon. How did we get involved in investing in PETs? Well, that's pretty simple, I guess. PETs are a perfect fit and a very integral part of our investment thesis at Lunar Ventures. We built Lunar to invest very early on in very technical team building the next generation of software infrastructure. We believe there's a wave of new technologies springing from computer science and cryptography that will radically change how we interact with software. And PETs are definitely one of those. My partner, Elad, is a theoretical computer scientist, and throughout his academic careers, he has had a very vast exposure to PETs technologies. He has always believed that one day this technology will deeply change how we produce, interact, and consume data. And coincidentally, an inflection point for this space coincided with the launch of our first fund. So it just made a lot of sense for us to start deploying in this space. Since then, we spoke with a multitude of entrepreneurs active in this space. It's a very important area of investment for us. And I take this chance to invite any entrepreneurs active in this space to reach out. Looking forward to meeting many more at the event.
Thank you, Alberto, for outlining that. Luna Ventures, you guys wrote two really interesting white papers, which we'll speak about at the summit, on the different types of privacy enhancing technologies. What happened since you published them back in the summer, and who was interested in them and why?
So much happened since then that it seems ages that we published our first white paper. I think when we decided to write a white paper to outline what PETs were, what technologies were used, what industries PET could deeply transform, and what companies were active in this space, very few people knew what PETs were or what they could bring to the table and what massive economic opportunity was behind them. I think since then, this has changed quite a bit. When we published our white paper, which included a very detailed landscape of the companies active in this space, we identified roughly 80 or 90 companies. I think I can safely estimate that the number doubled or tripled by now, simply by looking at the increasing deal flow that we've seen at Lunar. Throughout 2021, we've seen many more very smart technical entrepreneurs deciding to do something important for the world, leveraging PETs, and many more investors starting to be comfortable making bets in this space.
Thanks, Alberto. What advice would you give the different PET startups and investors?
Thanks. I think this is a particularly hard question. PETs companies are very different among each other, both in terms of the technology they use, but also in terms of the industry they serve and the go-to-market they decide to adopt. PETs are very horizontal technologies. They could basically reshape fundamentally how we interact with data, and that today cuts across all of the industries. Consequently, different founders could follow very different strategies. Maybe one general piece of advice I would like to give to entrepreneurs is to make sure that they build a very technical team very early on. PETs are far from being off-the-shelf technologies where someone can build, let's say, a business model type of innovation on top. They require a lot of hand-holding with the first customer, and there's still plenty to build at an horizontal level to make these technologies more scalable and easier to integrate with the rest of the software stack. Another probably helpful piece of advice could be to make sure to do your homework in terms of understanding where to apply this technology. As mentioned before, PETs could be theoretically applicable to any industries, but different use cases have a very different level of difficulty. In particular, many use cases require interaction among a potentially large number of parties, and this is because the more parties involved, the more data is being exchanged. I think it's important for founders to study these use cases very well and try to focus on something simple and valuable rather than a very large transformational vision that is eventually hard to pull off in the medium term. I think many customers and industries still need to get acquainted with these technologies, and there's still some degree of skepticism. So what the industry needs and what could be very valuable for a company is a set of even small but repeatable wins. On the other hand, for investors, I think similarly, one need to make sure to understand at a fairly deep level cryptography, computer science. There are some inherent trade-off in each of these technologies, and make sure that if you have these technical competencies, you're also building a great syndicate with very smart co-investors. Technical proficiency is not enough. You need also to understand the industry a certain founder want to attack with PETs, because as said before, there's a degree of education and a cumbersome adoption process where smart investors can really make a difference with great guidance and very good introductions.
Thank you, Alberto, for joining with me today to answer some of my questions about privacy enhancing technologies. We're really excited to welcome you to the summit.
Thank you very much, Moses. It was a pleasure speaking today with you, and very much looking forward to meet a bunch of great people at the event. Have a great day.